So at 20% we got 81,327.5. How much is the PV of cash outflow? PV of cash outflow is equal to rupees 1 lakh. See, IRR is that rate of discount at which PV of cash inflow and PV of cash outflow both should be same. दोनों जहां पर एक हो जाएगा, कैश आउटफ्लो और कैश इनफ्लो दोनों सेम हो गया तो वो रेट को IRR कहेंगे. लेकिन यह दोनों सेम नहीं है, कैश इनफ्लो कम है, कैश इनफ्लो इज लेस देन 1 लाख. तो टू इंक्रीज द कैश इनफ्लो, we decrease the rate. पहले जो है 20% से लिए थे 81,000, बहुत कम आया. 20,000 का डिफरेंस है, 19,000 का डिफरेंस हो गया. So to increase this PV of cash inflow, we decrease the rate. Let the new rate be 15%. 5% कम कर दिया. पहले 20% लिए थे तो कम आया था. अब इसको बढ़ाने के लिए रेट को डिक्रीज करना, उल्टा. जितना रेट डिक्रीज करेंगे कैश इनफ्लो बढ़ेगा. अगर कैश इनफ्लो को बढ़ाना है तो रेट को कम करना है, कैश इनफ्लो को कम करना है तो रेट को इंक्रीज करना. इनवर्स रिलेशनशिप. नाउ दिस स्पेस आई हैव लेफ्ट PV factors at the rate of 15%. PV of cash inflow. Now I am going to calculate at 15%. So 15%, 1 divided by 1.15 equals to 0.870 is equal to 0.756 is equal to 0.658 is equal to 0.572. That's it. These are the 15% PV factors. Now multiply again cash inflow with PV factor. Cash inflow 25,000. So 25,000 into 0.87. You are going to get 21,750. Here 25,000 into 0.756. You are getting 18,900. Here 22,500 into 0.658. You are getting 14,805. Last one, 62,500 into 0.572. 35,750. Now we'll find the total. 35,750 plus 14,805 plus 18,900 plus 21,750. 91,205. Still it is less. पहले भी 1 लाख से कम था, अभी भी 1 लाख से कम है. Still we have to increase. Still we have to increase. तो पहले भी 81,327 था, 1 लाख रुपीस से कम था. तो to increase this PV of cash inflow, we decrease the rate. We decrease the rate from 20% to 15%. अब 15% से भी 91,000 और कम करेंगे. Still to increase the PV of cash inflow, we further decrease the rate. Let the new rate be 10%. Let the new rate be 10%. So PV factors at the rate of 10% will take, then PV of cash inflow, right? 10%, 0.909, 0.826, 0.751, 0.683. 25,000 into 0.909, we are getting 22,725. Similarly, again 25,000 into 0.826, it is 20,650. Then 22,500 into 0.751, 16,897.5. 62,500 into 0.683, 42,687.5 plus 16,897.5 plus 20,650 plus 22,725, 1,02,960. That's it. 1,02,960. Right? This value is more than 1 lakh. More than 1 lakh. Now I am writing here PV of cash inflow at the rate of 10%, 1,02,960. PV of cash inflow at the rate of 15%, 91,205. PV of cash outflow, 1 lakh. एक वैल्यू 1 लाख से बड़ा रहना और एक वैल्यू 1 लाख से छोटा रहना. One value should be more than 1 lakh, the other value should be less than 1 lakh. So here this value is more than 1 lakh. At what percentage we got? 10%. And this value is less than 1 lakh. At what percentage? 15%. We are not concerned with 20% now. We don't require 20%. 15% and 10%. Therefore, IRR lies between 10% and 15%. The actual IRR will be calculated by the following interpolation formula. IRR is equal to RL plus PVCF80 minus PVC divided by delta PV into delta R. First time we are applying this formula to calculate IRR. RL plus PVCF80 minus PVC divided by delta PV into delta R. RL stands for lower rate. Lower rate is 10%. Then PVCF80 is equal to PV of cash inflow at the lower rate is equal to 1,02,960. PVC is equal to PV of cash outflow is equal to 1 lakh. Delta PV, difference in cash inflows, 1,02,960 minus 91,204. Delta R, difference between the two rates, that is 15 minus 10 is equal to 5. So 1,02,960 minus 91,205, 11,000. 11,755. Now we have to find out the IRR. IRR is equal to RL, lower rate is 10%, plus PVCF80, 1,02,960 minus 1 lakh divided by 11,755 into 5. 2,960 divided by 2,960 into 5 divided by 11,755. 1.10 plus 1.26, 11.26%. Or the answer is 11.26%. Or calculations of IRR. This is the first problem on IRR. Again, I'll explain you from beginning, because I told you comparatively the calculations are little bit difficult. IRR is little bit difficult compared to NPV, PI, PBP और ARR. बाकी 4 मेथड से कंपेयर करें तो ये मेथड में कैलकुलेशन ज्यादा होगा, थोड़ा पेशेंस चाहिए, थोड़ा प्रैक्टिस चाहिए. From beginning, I'll tell you again. First of all, we'll calculate the fake PBP. If the annual cash inflows are not constant, we calculate fake PBP. Fake PBP is equal to initial investment divided by average cash inflow. Average cash inflow का मतलब total cash inflows divided by number of years. अब हमारे प्रॉब्लम में 4 साल दिया. 4 साल के जो कैश इनफ्लोस थे 25,000, 25,000, 22,500, 62,500, ये पूरों को ऐड करके डिवाइडेड बाय 4 कर दिया तो एवरेज कैश इनफ्लो आ. तो इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट 1 लाख, तो 1 लाख डिवाइडेड बाय एवरेज कैश इनफ्लो विल गेट फेक पीबीपी, इमेजिनरी पीबीपी. अब वो फेक पीबीपी को लोकेट करेंगे पीवी ऑफ एन्युटी टेबल. पीवी ऑफ एन्युटी टेबल, जब एन्युटी टेबल में वो फैक्टर रेफर करें तो 20% के वैल्यू करीब आया. हम स्टार्ट किए कैलकुलेशन 20% से. तो पहले 4 कॉलम्स, ईयर, कैश इनफ्लो, 20% पीवी फैक्टर्स, पीवी ऑफ कैश. अब ये कैश इनफ्लो मालूम करने के बाद इसको कंपेयर करना आउटफ्लो से. आउटफ्लो 1 लाख रुपीस है, इनफ्लो 81,327, ये लेस है. तो टू इंक्रीज दिस पीवी ऑफ कैश इनफ्लो वी डिक्रीज द रेट. ये कैश इनफ्लो को बढ़ाने के लिए रेट को कम करना. तो पहले क्या रेट था 20, अब मैं कम करके रैंडमली 15% लिया. 15% पीवी फैक्टर्स लेके फिर पीवी ऑफ कैश इनफ्लो फिर अगेन कम हो गया, अगेन फिर भी कम है, 91,000 आया, जबकि आना कितना चाहिए 1 लाख. तो फिर इसको बढ़ाने के लिए रेट को और कम करना, तो 15% से कम करके 10% कर दिया. अब 10% से कैश इनफ्लो कैलकुलेट कर दो, 1,02,000 बढ़ गया. और यही चाहिए हमको, इसी तरह चाहिए कि एक वैल्यू 1 लाख से ज्यादा रहना, एक वैल्यू 1 लाख से कम रहना. तो ये 1 लाख से ज्यादा हो गया और ये 1 लाख से कम हो गया. ये 10% का है और ये 15%. तो हमारा IRR या 10 और 15 के बीच में है, समवेयर 10 और 15 के बीच में. तो here I have written PV of cash inflow at 10%, PV of cash inflow at 15%. Therefore, PV of cash outflow 1 lakh. Therefore, IRR lies between 10 and 15%. Actual IRR will be calculated by the following interpolation formula. RL का मतलब lower rate 10%. PVCFAT का मतलब PV of cash inflow at lower rate. ये lower rate का cash inflow 1,02,009. PVC का मतलब PV of cash outflow 1 lakh. डेल्टा पीवी का मतलब डिफरेंस इन द टू कैश इनफ्लोस, ये दोनों कैश इनफ्लो का जो डिफरेंस है ये डेल्टा. और डेल्टा आर का मतलब डिफरेंस बिटवीन द टू रेट्स, ये दोनों रेट्स का डिफरेंस 5%. फिनिश्ड. सब्स्टिट्यूट, यू विल गेट आंसर. द ओनली थिंग इज you need practice. After doing 2-3 problems, definitely you don't find much difficulty in understanding, in calculating the IRR. Now, see the next problem. Problem number. In this problem, just now we have completed. Problem number we have done 26th problem, no? Yes. So we have to give the suggestion. So NPV is equal to IRR is equal to IRR. Just now we got something. So by comparing this NPV and IRR, we can give the conclusion this project is acceptable because NPV is positive. NPV is positive, 2,960 is the NPV, and IRR is more than required rate of return. Problem में required rate of return दिया 10% and our IRR got more than 10%. तो conclusion of this problem is the project is acceptable because NPV is positive and IRR is more than the required rate of return. Next, 27th problem. See carefully 27th problem. A company is considering two mutually exclusive projects. Both require an initial outlay of rupees 2 lakh each and have a life of 5 years. The company's required rate of return 10%. Expected cash flows are given. Year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Project X, Project Y. Determine the NPV and IRR of each project and indicate which project should be selected and why. So in this problem we have to calculate both NPV as well as IRR for both the projects. So thoda sa different problem hai. Carefully see here. First of all we will calculate the NPV, net present value. Problem number 27. Calculation of NPV, net present value. Here PV factors at the rate of 10%. This is project X and this is project Y. Cash inflow, PV of cash inflow. This is cash inflow, this is PV of cash inflow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. PV of cash. 10% discount rate 0.909, 0.826, 0.751, 0.683, 0.621. Now cash inflows are given 80,000. And here cash inflows are given 1,20,000, then 60,000, then 40,000. Next 1 lakh, last 1 lakh, right? Now, by multiplying the PV factors with cash inflow, we'll get the values 72,720, then 66,080. 60,080, then 54,640, and here 49,680. The total is 3,03,200. Similarly here, PV factor is multiplied with cash inflow. We'll get 1,09,080. Second, 49,560. 30,040, 68,300, last one 62,100. Total is 3,19,080. Or now X, Y, PV of cash inflow minus PV of cash outflow. Cash inflow 3,03,200, 3,19,080. Now PV of cash outflow is given in the problem 2 lakh. Subtract 1,03,200, 1,19,080. That's it. Or half of the problem is completed, that is NPV. NPV we have completed. Now calculation of IRR. Calculation of IRR. So machine X, project X. Project X, you can see the cash inflows are constant. Cash inflows are constant. So different method we apply. अभी जो method apply करे previous problem में, the annual cash inflows were not constant. Here it is constant. The annual cash inflows are constant. So we calculate actual PBP. PBP is equal to initial investment divided by constant annual cash inflow. Initial investment is given 2 lakh and constant annual cash inflow is given 20,000. So 2 lakh divided by 80,000, that will come to 2.5. Previous problem we have calculated fake PBP. If it is not constant, fake PBP. If it is constant, actual PBP. दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है? डिनोमिनेटर वहां पर एवरेज कैश इनफ्लो था, लेकिन यहां पर एवरेज कैश इनफ्लो नहीं है, कांस्टेंट कैश इनफ्लो है. नाउ स्टेप 2, लोकेट 2 फैक्टर्स in PV of annuity table against year 5 such that one factor should be more than 2.5 and the other factor should be less than 2.5. Previous case में, in the previous case we have located one discount factor. जब कांस्टेंट नहीं था तो एक डिस्काउंट फैक्टर लिए थे. अब यहां पर कांस्टेंट कैश इनफ्लो है, एक्चुअल पीबीपी मालूम करें तो 2 फैक्टर्स विल डिसाइड. 2 फैक्टर्स विल लोकेट इन पीवी ऑफ एन्युटी टेबल अगेंस्ट ईयर 5. In PV of annuity table against year 5, we locate 2 discount factors. So this is the PV of annuity table, and PV of annuity table against year 5. एक वैल्यू 2.5 से बड़ा होना, एक वैल्यू 2.5 से छोटा चाहिए. तो 2 point here comes yes. At 28%, at 28% the value is 2.532. At 29% 2.483. If you have this table, refer the table. 5th ईयर की लाइन में देखते जाएंगे. 5th ईयर की लाइन में एक 2.5 से बड़ा चाहिए, एक 2.5 से छोटा चाहिए. तो at 28% we got 2.532. 2.532 is more than 2.5. और उसके बाद 28 के बाद 29% पर 2.483. 2.483 is less than 2.5. Therefore, IRR lies between 28% and 29%. 28 और 29 के बीच में IRR है. So actual IRR will be calculated by the following formula. IRR is equal to RL plus DFRL minus PBP divided by DFRL minus DFRH into delta. RL का मतलब है लोअर रेट. ये दोनों में लोअर रेट 28%. DFRL discount factor at lower rate. So discount factor 2.532. PBP is equal to payback period is equal to 2.5. Then DFRH discount factor at the higher rate 2.483. Delta R difference between the two rates, 29 minus 28, 1. So IRR is equal to RL, lower rate is how much? 28, plus discount factor 2.532 minus 2.5 divided by 2.532 minus 2.483 into 1. 28 plus 2.532 minus 2.5, 0.032 divided by 2.532 minus 2.483, 0.049 into 1. 28 plus 0.032 divided by 0.049. 28.65 over 28.65. This is the IRR of project X. ये project X का IRR. Previous problem में जो देखे थे वो annual cash inflows not constant था, तो formula अलग था. ये problem में project X में cash inflows are constant, so it is easier. First, the annual cash inflows are constant, so we calculate actual PVP. Initial investment divided by constant cash inflow. Initial investment divided by constant 2.5. Locate two discount factors in PV of annuity table against year 5 such that one factor should be more than 2.5, the other factor should be less than 2.5. So we got 28 and 29. IRR lies between 28 and 29. The actual IRR can be ascertained by using the formula RL plus DFRL minus PVP divided by DFRL minus DFRH into delta R. I have given all expression. We got 28.65. Now we'll do project Y. Project Y. The annual cash inflows are not constant. So we calculate fake PVP. Fake PVP is equal to initial investment divided by average cash inflow. Average cash inflow is equal to, now we take the total of the cash inflows. The total of the cash inflows are 1,20,000 plus 60,000 plus 40,000 plus 1 lakh plus 1 lakh divided by 5. So 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 lakh 20,000 divided by 5. 4 lakh 20,000 divided by 5. That is 84,000. You will get 84,000. Now fake PVP. Initial investment 2 lakh divided by 84,000. So 2 lakh divided by 84,000, you are getting 2.381. Locate 2.381 or its nearest in PV of annuity table. Against year 5. Against year 5. So 2.381 का nearest value 2.381. PV of annuity table 5th year 2.381. So you are getting a 31%. At 31% you can see here 2.390. Therefore, we begin our calculations at 31%. We begin our calculations at